Hello, everybody. It's GG for GB, and I just want to talk about David Splane, that speech that he gave at the convention, and my take on it. A little different take. Here we go. Here in this clip, you're going to hear David Splane say that you probably have already seen this, right? But how Jehovah has prepared his witnesses for the pandemic. And I want to tell you something. He is right. Jehovah, and this is the kind of God he is, he has prepared his witnesses here on earth to build their lives on sand. And now that the pandemic has come, like he says, they don't know anything. They just wait on Jehovah. They don't know why they make decisions that they do. And they just wait on Jehovah, and the pandemic has now arrived. Meanwhile, those that have left the Jehovah's Witness organization are building their lives on a rock mass, like Jesus said. Why? Because Christians don't say, well, we don't know. We don't know what's going to come. We do know what's going to come. We know that there's going to be a flood. Whether COVID or a hurricane or tornado, we know there's going to be catastrophic events. And we also know that working full time and making smart financial decisions will not only prepare us today, but in the future. And it will prepare us for a thing called a flood or a COVID pandemic. Meanwhile, the Jehovah's Witnesses are receiving food boxes, and they come with a letter from President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And then the elders go and they throw away the letter from Donald Trump that's in these boxes, and they go and they give the food boxes and they hand them out to the publishers. Meanwhile, Jesus' followers are working full-time and paying taxes, and that money is being used to give you Jehovah's Witnesses who are just waiting on Jehovah, giving you your food boxes. Listen to what he says.
Now, speaking of broadcasting, do you think Jehovah has been preparing us for something like this pandemic? Think about this. A few years ago, the decision was made to set up something called JW Broadcasting. And at the time, who knew how practical an arrangement that was going to turn out to be? And who knows what uses JWB will be put to in the future? Jehovah knows. Jehovah looks ahead. Sometimes we don't know ourselves why certain decisions are made or why we are making certain decisions. But Jehovah knows. Jehovah is our greatest joy.
Now in this clip, David Splane is going to show you how they keep the Jehovah's Witnesses financially poor, and how Watchtower creates what we call a dependent class. Watchtower has made the majority of its members dependent. You know how in the Jehovah's Witness religion they talk about a John class, the Jehonadab class, etc.? Well, in this clip, you're going to see how Watchtower creates an Esau class, the brother of Jacob, the one that sold his inheritance, right? His birthright. Yes, the Esau class has forfeited their birthright and surrendered completely everything that they have. And now they are not an independent class. No, the Jehovah's Witness publishers are a dependent class. They've even forfeited their birthright of being called children of God, sons of God. And they say, oh, David Splane is an anointed member, and he is a son of God, but you Jehovah's Witness publishers, you got to wait another 1,000 years. Not only do you have to wait 1,000 years before you're called sons of God, meanwhile, on earth, you're going to be dependent on us. Don't believe me? Congratulations, Jehovah's Witnesses. You guys are the Esau class of the Bible. Listen to David Splane here in this clip.
Jehovah has the right to expect that we'll love him even more than we love our husband, our wife, our son or daughter, or our parents. He also has the right to expect that we'll love him more than we love our job, a favorite hobby, or maybe a sport that we're passionate about. Jehovah has to come first. Has your desire to put Jehovah first been tested during this pandemic? You lost your job, and you searched desperately for another one. Finally, after a long search, you found one. But it was a job that would require you to miss all your meetings and opportunities for field service. What a temptation to take that job. You've been out of work for months. You felt helpless because a family member is supposed to provide for his family. It would take a lot of faith for you to refuse that job. Pray to Jehovah, and then wait. Hold on a little longer to see what Jehovah would work out for you.
But the reason I made this video is because of this clip right here. David Splane in this clip uses the words, I could never be, or I would never be this. I've never thought about doing this. And how Jehovah makes you become anything. Now, this insert here is a list of different jobs that Jehovah needed in his house in Bethel. These are all IT professional jobs that you could use to, that you need to be able to create some network and a system like Zoom. Now, instead of Jehovah creating all of his servants to fill these jobs, Jehovah says, well, I can't do that because I'm dealing with a dependent class. So Jehovah needed all of these people to become trained professionals so his preaching work could continue. But instead, Jehovah has not caused anyone in his house to become an IT professional. So Jehovah God has gone from Gog of China. Yes, Jehovah God has gone to the Gog of China. He has hired a Chinese company to do what he could not train his people to do. Think about that.
As you know, many scholars believe that Jehovah's name means he causes to become. Jehovah can become whatever he needs to become, and he can make you become whatever he needs you to be. Now, in the days of Israel, what did Jehovah need? Often he needed prophets. Where did he get them? From ordinary people. He took a very shy young man named Jeremiah and turned him into a bold and courageous prophet, and he did the same with a farmer named Amos. Don't tell Jehovah what you can and can't do. You might be surprised about what you can do if you just put yourself in Jehovah's hands. How many in this audience once said, I could never preach from door to door. I could never pioneer. I could never be a missionary. I could never serve where the need is great. Well, Jehovah knew better.
Jehovah could not create his own software program. So he goes to who? Of all else, he goes to China. And says, hey, I need to use your software program because my servants are all dependent. They're getting food boxes. They're not smart enough to do this job. So Jehovah is using a Chinese-owned Zoom company to carry out his preaching work. Then, after Jehovah uses China, instead of saying thank you, he'll annihilate them, according to the words of David Splane. No wonder there are no Jehovah's Witnesses in China. And no wonder the Russians hate them. No wonder the Russians want you out of their country. Listen to what David Splane of Watchtower is saying to the heads of state, and you will see why they are banned in many countries.
Ezekiel 38, beginning with verse 4. Now this is Jehovah talking to that coalition of nations known collectively as Gog. And I want you to pay particular attention to the first part of the verse. That's verse 4. Jehovah says to Gog, I will turn you around and put hooks in your jaws and bring you out with all your army. Now think about that. I will turn you around. It sounds like Gog was headed in the opposite direction. But then Jehovah turns him around and he draws him out to attack. So what does that tell you? The timing of the attack is Jehovah's. Now that doesn't mean that Gog of Magog had no intention of attacking God's people. He was planning to attack at some point. But it's the timing of the attack that's Jehovah's.
This man is living in a mansion in Tuxedo Park, New York, and he's not paying any income tax, and neither is his religion paying any income tax on their employees. He is preaching these slanderous lies under the protection of the United States First Amendment of free speech and freedom of religion. He's using these two things in the First Amendment, right, of the United States Constitution. And then after doing that, he proceeds to say that Jehovah's people are under attack. They're under attack from the United States, they're under attack from Canada, Jehovah's people are under attack from the UK, from Mexico, from Spain. That's what he's saying, all the nations of the world. That's what that means, what he's saying. So he's saying that Jehovah's people are under attack, but hold on. Jehovah's people have been given the right under the First Amendment so you can say these slanderous lies. Well, of course Jehovah's people, David, should be attacked. You deserve it for not cooperating with the Australian Royal Commission in reporting child pedophilia. You lied. You said you were going to cooperate. You were going to change, and nothing has changed. You still have not reported and given the police department one letter of names of people that you know are child molesters that are in your congregation. What about, why shouldn't you be attacked by the governments for financing kingdom halls for over 50 years, and you finance them for 10, 20, 30-year loans? You charge interest and then you steal the property? You sell the property, you keep it, and you leave the local people without the money and without the halls? That's called theft. Imagine if Wells Fargo lent you money for 30 years and then took your property. For crying out loud, of course you should be attacked. You should be attacked for letting children die, for the refusal of blood transfusions. You should be attacked for all of the suicides that you cause because of the shunning policy, because of you destroy families. You should be attacked for destroying families all across the world in every nation. You should be embarrassed and ashamed of yourself. Now, the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses should go to jail like Joseph Rutherford for preaching a seditious teaching of the overthrow of our government by some deity named Jehovah. And in a nutshell, that's what that clip shows. You're telling everybody that the United States is going to be destroyed and overthrown by Jehovah. Sounds like a seditious teaching to me. How? You deserve everything that's coming to you. And may God have mercy on your souls. Now, on this one, you want to listen to what David Splane says about Babylon the Great. Who is Babylon the Great?
There's another thing. What precedes the attack of Gog of Magog? What did we read in the Pure Worship book? The destruction of Babylon the Great. Now, have you ever considered how that destruction is going to fortify your faith? It's going to strengthen you so that you're able to endure the attack of Gog of Magog? Think about it this way. What other religious organization foretells the destruction of a world empire of false religion? We're the only ones, because the others are all part of Babylon the Great. They're not going to foretell the destruction in the future. So the destruction is going to be a surprise to everyone but Jehovah's Witnesses.
Well, first of all, who said? Only the Jehovah's Witnesses are saying that Babylon the Great is a world empire of false religion? Have you ever looked at your book, the Revelation book? Think about this for a second. You got everything wrong. You can go through that book, and in every page, you can put your finger on any page, and you can see what lies were preached in that book. Think about this. When you go through that book, you mean to tell me that the 7 trumpets that they talk about in Revelations are 7 district conventions starting with the Cedar Point, Ohio convention? Really? So all your book is filled with trash like that. with your book is littered with the illusions of Jehovah's Witness grandeur. And then you say, no wonder you, the governing body, is throwing that book away and burning it. Of course you're throwing it away. And you mean to tell me that you're going to stick with that story? That that's your story and you're sticking to it? That you got everything wrong. But hold on a minute, brothers. We got this right. We got Babylon the Great as a world empire, a false religion. We got that right. But we got everything else wrong. No, that's not how it works, David. You are wrong about everything in that book. You know, you were saying that the Revelation book about the arrows are your preaching work against the Catholic Church? That's what the book of Revelation was prophesying? I mean, just stuff like that. And then now I have to accept the fact that Babylon the Great is the world empire false religion? How? When you strike out and you strike out and you strike out and you strike out and you strike out, but I'm supposed to believe you on that? And let's just go one more further. And I'm supposed to believe you that God's name is Jehovah? After everything that you preach is false and everything that you do is hideous. I'm supposed to say, oh, well, you were right on that one. You were wrong about everything, and especially that one. I can't buy into it. I can't believe it. I believe that everything that you guys teach is a lie, and everything else, I have better odds with everything else. If you tell me, David, to go north, I'll go south. If you tell me God's name is Jehovah, I'm going to say no, it's Jesus. I'm just going every direction opposite. You know, and if you say God's name is Jehovah, the other guy says, well, I'm an atheist. Well, hey, you know what? You're better off being an atheist than believing in what you teach. You're wrong about everything. And everything you touch and every family that you touch, every last family has been destroyed because of the shunning policy, because of your teaching. You're hunkering down and you're going into isolation. You're going into silence. Your silence is a killer. Brother and sister are not talking to their siblings. Mothers and fathers are not talking to their children. Mothers and fathers are dying, not talking to their children. Everything you touch turns to excrement. So everything that you teach, I just believe the exact opposite. And ever since I've done that, my life is a lot better. Is a lot better. So again, no wonder you're hated in Russia. And try saying those things in China. They'll kill you. They'll kill you. And in America, they let you say it. And then instead of saying, hey, thank you for giving us the First Amendment. Thank you for giving us freedom of religion. You bite the hand that feeds you. You guys are sick. Sick. Now, here in this clip, David Splane is saying that today's Jehovah's Witnesses are going to have a home Bible study with Abraham and David and Samuel. It's crazy. Look at the clip.
Are you looking forward to conducting a Bible study with an unbelieving relative who returns? Or maybe with some historical figure? You know, this weekend, we learned that even faithful men of old were going to have to adapt to a different way of life and learn how to worship Jehovah in a way that will be acceptable to him then. No, Abraham, that child does not need to be circumcised. David, you're not a king anymore. If you want a glass of water, you have to get up and get it yourself. Samuel, I know you're grateful to be resurrected, but we don't offer animal sacrifices anymore. So please, put that knife down and leave that bull alone.
So just think about that. The arrogance that these people have to say that, well, you're a Jehovah's Witness now, and you're going to have the great privilege of telling Abraham. The arrogance, the illusions of grandeur that these people have. You know, when you study the Bible and you read about how many goats and sheep and cattle these men had and how many children. So here you have a man who has 12 kids, right? And plus daughters. and he has thousands of sheep, thousands of goats, thousands of cattle. And then he gets resurrected, and he's going to have some Jehovah's Witness, window washer, regular pioneer tell him, you know what? Let me tell you, David. Let me tell you, Abraham. Let me tell you something, Isaac and Jacob. You're wrong about the way you think you're doing things. Let me enlighten you. These guys can't even make a tomato grow in a pot. And they're going to be instructing the illusions of grandeur. David Splane cannot even grow chilies and tomatoes in a pot. And he's going to tell Abraham he's not, because he's going to be in heaven and Abraham's going to be on earth. The illusions of grandeur that you guys have. And just like Jesus says, man, you guys think that you're sitting in the front of the table, right? Way up in the front. But your sorry ass is going to go way back, and it's going to be an embarrassing day. It's going to be so embarrassing when your ass has to pay for all of the arrogance, the lies, the condescension, the hateful words, the seditious words that come out of your mouth. May God have mercy on your soul, David Splane. You are a very sick individual. And you know what? I say that from experience because on Wednesdays when we have our governing body meetings, I tell you these things. And I told you, that I used to believe too that I was a nice person. I really thought that I was a good person. I really thought I was a godly person. I really thought these things. and then I went to jail. But, and I realized what an asshole I was. I realized how I was an evil person. I used to believe this stuff. And you know what? It's so liberating to know. The weight has been lifted off of me. To know that, guess what? Jesus got the job, not me. He's the judge. He's the leader. I don't have to do anything. I just need to back off. I need to mind my own business. I need to stop judging. I need to live and let live. It is so and if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you're watching this video and you've gotten this far, you're not a nice person. No, you're not. Because if you actually go back and listen to what he says, he's talking about death and destruction of really innocent people. And he has the illusions of grandeur that he's above Abraham. He's above King David. He's above Samuel. That's sick. And you know what? You got to live in reality. You guys are evil people. You shun your families. You destroy your families. You surrender your birthrights. Oh man, and the list can go on. So hey, that's my take on David Splane. But the whole reason I did this is because I wanted to show how Jehovah has sold out to China. Instead of Jehovah doing something for himself with his people in New York, he went to China. Well, it kind of makes sense, right? Because you see this picture? It's Jehovah's Witnesses are a New World Order religion, and they have a New World Order Bible. Okay, guys, that's all I have. Hope to see you guys real soon.
If we have listened to Christ, will we show it? His teaching shines as it shows us the way. It makes us happy to hear and to know it. But we'll be blessed if we know and obey. Listen, obey, and be blessed. When you hear God's will expressed, if you'd be happy.